So 7 o'clock starting. And I guess all the regular members are here, so. We can, so you're all voting. Anybody get a look at the minutes last month?
Yeah, I looked at them when Pat sent them out. They're really good, but I don't remember them at this point.
Yeah. So, no other suggestions?
I just had a question on, minutes are great. On the treasurer's report, it mentions the CMA bills.
I'm going to address that.
What, you're gonna
I'll
talk
get
about
my
that?
turn, yeah.
Okay.
So we're all good with the minutes, so accept the minutes submitted. Treasurer's report.
Okay, easy stuff. We earned interest at the end of last month of $1,746.91 for a balance of $729,169.40. There was an issue I had reported previously from Peter about, I asked him about any transactions and interest like I do every 2 weeks. And he'd come back with a bill for CMA, which is the engineering firm, for $5,328.61. Couldn't tell me what it was. I went to Amy and said, "Hey, what's this about?" She went and looked up, and it was coated with CD Bridge. I said, "Well, other than we pulled some hemp plants out of there, we have no involvement in that."
What is CD Bridge?
Well, the CD Bridge project,
Rebuild.
but somehow it got assigned to the BCC. So I did follow up with her Monday before the voting. She was running out of the building and I was chasing her. They did find the fact that it was improperly coded and they got to do a journal entry of some sort. So that we will see that $5,300 back into our account. She also was able to give me a list. I haven't worked with it yet. I'm going to be able to have a good spreadsheet so we keep a little better track. And it might help us to question these things when, it's just a simple, you coded it wrong and it came out of the wrong account, which is as simple as a slip digits because everyone's got an account number. We do too. I did submit the pay thing for the 2025 New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commission. They then somehow or another, you got your PDF of the bill. It's already in process. The check could literally be in the mail, but I don't want to be a liar. Everyone who says that should be a liar. But I was told in the next check run at the beginning of the week.
Okay, so we're should be covered there.
Good.
All right. Anything else?
Treasurer wise, that's it.
All right, great, thanks. So I have several new business items. First one up is this habitat improvement project. It was a request from the cooperative extension / UNH professor. His name is escaping me at the moment. Well, it should be on the
Which one
email.
is I can't bring up emails. I can only bring up the attachments.
Well, the attachment.
Which
one? It's from, well, it wasn't really an attachment. It's just a aerial
The
photo.
Sat Watson?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the guy the professor's he's got some Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah, he has a class in wildlife management, something of that sort, and they wanted to do a habitat improvement project, so they contacted me and then also Charlie Tatum to look at where it would be good to do that, and we, of course, previously talked about Satwasser being being a good place to do some, since it is growing in, and want to try to kind of maintain the open areas. So that's what they're going to do. It's coming up November 19th and 21st at 1. Yeah, it was 1:30 in the morning. After
1 p.m. And they're going after, apparently within the habitat, we got an area that probably is drier than some of the rest. And so they don't have as many small maples and oaks that are growing in, because those are the things they want to take out. The New England cottontails like scrub brush. They don't want trees. So, and they're going to do it manually. They're not coming in with a brush hog.
Yeah.
I
Are you able to?
It was discussed in all trails meetings. So
can use the touchpad. You can scroll.
and we're going to try to get at least one person out there just to understand it and maybe
just
record it. let people know.
Yeah, no, I had that.
Yeah.
He wanted the name.
And the work party to clear all.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't know, for students. So I was told the class might have like as many as 30 to 35 students. Don't know if it's mandatory they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
You know, it's a week before Thanksgiving. No, hopefully I think they usually have exams then.
Two
So they
things.
might not
Yeah.
see you down, but
You've given them
Yeah, Matt.
guidance on what to take and.
no, they know the people doing this know more about this than
Oh,
we
okay.
do as a BCC. I think, wasn't it? It was Charlie Moreno that maybe be involved the first time.
Well, yeah, on the
Rabbit
rabbit
Act,
project. Yeah, and I had talked with them a few years back about, the fact that the rabbits aren't coming back.
Mm.
Isn't really a rabbit
Yeah.
hat, evidently.
There's a few other places around where they did see
Yeah.
rabbits and
Yeah.
they found that in quick order they either reproduced or they died.
Yeah.
Were they reintroduced at all or just?
No, I-
given?
It's not, yeah, not there, but in other
Yeah.
places.
Other places.
Like, I think it's some Dover or something like that, but they
Yeah.
end up finding markers that, obviously the coyotes had got to.
Yeah. I think there.
But it was a small amount.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to see a truckload of rabbits show up,
Yeah.
'cause, Australia still have horror stories about them.
Right. Well, these are native rabbits. So.
Well,
That's
it's a
along
native,
there.
they don't want to hang here.
In any case, that's where things stood, and Charlie Moreno actually had mentioned that Plan B for that area might be to encourage whippoorwill birds that are also threatened. I guess I'm not quite sure their status, but they're less common. I hear them occasionally. In any case, Matt's the expert on stuff. And we figured whatever, they couldn't do much harm. And so they're planning to do this area, if you're familiar with the Rabbit Road that runs perpendicular to 125, the parking area on that. And it's just off, a little ways off of the Rabbit Road and what's the Cottontail Trail, I think, runs
Yeah.
north from there.
Yeah.
So it's
And Hopalong runs south of it.
yeah. And so they're just gonna be cutting down saplings, new trees that are coming up where the stumps were, and leaving the native shrubbery. So kind of just reducing the verticality, I guess, of the area. They're gonna leave the cuttings on the ground. And I guess that's about it. So anyway, I told him, sounds fine, and I did refer him to the SPINIF, Society for Protection of Natural Forests, which actually holds the easement for Satwasser, and they were okay with it. So I said, well, I'd run it by the Concom just to put it on record, I guess. So, any questions about what they're planning to do, or? And of course, you're all welcome to join if you're available on either of those days.
Will they do any tracking of success? Like, is this an ongoing thing or will they come back?
I don't think so. It seems like it's kind of a one-off at this point.
It's almost like a passive program. We'll set up the place, hope somebody moves in.
Do you know who's doing the work?
It's the students.
The
Yeah, it's
students.
a class. It's basically a class project. So, like, again, it's not like they're gonna, obviously, they're only covering a small portion of the overall clearings, but, we figured can't do any harm, and it's probably a good thing. So,
Yeah, we used to have a picture post out there, but we pulled it out earlier this year because the program collapsed when their computer crashed.
Yeah, if this
yeah,
is sort of
that's-
experimental, it would be good if they track it.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can talk to them about whether there's any follow-up
Follow up, yeah.
process. I mean, I expect that's something that they do, but in any case, seemed like a good deal. So somebody make a motion to approve this.
I so move, we approve it. I'm all in favor of clearing, saplings and that brush and crud. Invasive species.
I'll second that.
Wherever we can.
Okay, seconded. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ken? what do you-
Yes, that's a yes for me, by the way.
Okay, so that's unanimous, thank you. The second item that came up, and again, this isn't for something for a decision necessarily tonight, but you may recall there's been ongoing discussions with the Bedford estate over several different lands around Barrington. And I don't know if you're able to pull up those attachments. If you recall, when Lori Summer from Cell was here a couple months ago, I guess, she had mentioned that, their longer term project was to work on these lands, and it totals about 400 acres. So it's a pretty big swath, and it's on the west side, I guess, of Ayers Lake, and a portion down on the Isinglass River there. So pretty important. All those blue dots there, those are vernal pools. So there's like 19 of them, I guess, that they've determined in that area. So it's really good, wetland habitat, other shoreland, obviously. So anyway, they're trying to work a deal to, I don't know if they're purchasing it directly or getting the rights to it. But they're of course looking for possible funding. I explained to Lori about our situation and how we don't really know where our funds are, but I tried to give her at least a ballpark figure. So I kind of wanted to run that all by you. We just heard our current balance, and we've already committed, is it 250,000 to to the future position. Staffing. And of course, there's the Richardson Pond, which, will be somewhere between 1 and 300,000, something like that. So I don't know what that leaves us with, roughly.
Potentially
About
not
half.
much.
Yeah, but it's a couple 100,000. So again, we don't need to make any commitment at this point. She just wanted to get a sense of what we've got, or whether we, and I said probably between 50 and 100,000, somewhere in there. So does that seem reasonable to you? Again, not a commitment, but we might be able to work with.
And that is to go to purchase or maintenance of the properties, or what is this?
I think it's purchase. I don't recall if she stated that, but again, like with Landry, we would have an executory interest or whatever.
Well, Landry was an easement, though.
What?
Landry was an easement.
Yeah, in that case, it was just the easement.
This
And I expect and I should mention, they're looking at a lot of different sources for funding. They're going for a grant with the federal grant, actually. I don't think it's the wetlands conservation, but some federal pot of money, which, who knows where that will go, but that's being submitted, I think, imminently. And then they're also looking at some state grants as well, other sources. So we'd be a small piece of the overall puzzle. I assume it's going to be, probably upwards of $1 million or something. I mean, given.
Did they mention about public access anyway?
Not
Because I don't think there's much there. I've gone in
This
there.
is all logging, right? I assume that's what this is.
Yeah, that looks like it. It does have that.
I've hiked out there with that town. It's, it's a nice area.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the most of the roads we went on were his neighbors having basically a deal where they can hike amongst their neighborhood and they cut across their property. But I don't know if there's any real public access to that land.
Yeah, I don't believe so. But I would think they'll work out some kind of arrangement, but we didn't get that far, I think, in the discussion.
This is all preliminary.
Yeah, it's very preliminary at this point. So, there's no deal ready to sign or anything.
I know at one point before that boat ramp up the other end of the lake,
Right.
it was like, couldn't the town, I think, own some land down on this end
Yeah,
of the
on
Paris.
the very southern part.
And it was like, God, if they could put a ramp there, of course, that involved getting access, building a ramp. You have to, any insurance related to it, and of course. That's not the Barrington way, really.
I thought the Forest Service had something done in the lake there that would,
Forest side.
I thought there was they were going to discuss a ramp, but then.
Well, there's-
Lake 1.5.
So the state owns the dam on Ayers,
Okay.
and the right of way to the dam goes through Bedford land. So
Right.
if back to Jack or whomever's question about access. I mean, if the Bedford property were to go into conservation and there was stipulation you could get to the dam, you're at the lake. So
Right, right.
that's where the historic boat launch was, but it was a pretty marginal. It wasn't a real ramp.
Yeah.
Either one's the one on the other end. of it.
Yeah. Well, people did launch there, but it was interesting because in the 60s or 70s, the state offered it to the town and they declined to take it on because for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. You know, has the Ayers Lake Association been apprised of this yet, or?
Well, we asked Lori to come and speak at our
Okay.
summer meeting. She declined. So,
Oh, last summer?
Would that be a better
Well-
place for the launch, boat launch?
we've met with Fish and Game and they thought it was too expensive to develop. So they declined also.
I mean, you'd have to pay to cut a road
Compared
after you
to
have the land for the road.
compared to the Daniel Cater spot, which is a big pond.
Yeah, there's no road cutting there because the ramp is the road.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I
in
would-
any case,
I mean, that would be something that, it would be nice for her to come to the Ayers Lake Association meeting. It sounds like Mendham's put up some, Hippo put up some money towards that project, didn't they? The Landry?
Lander?
I thought they
Oh, yeah.
raised some of them.
They did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that association. It's
yeah.
Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll want to.
They'll want all takers, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Pony
I would
up,
think
so.
it'd be in their interest to talk with you, besides just, wanting to,
Do you know why she didn't?
I don't.
Well,
She
Was
said-
it just timing?
She responded that there was ongoing discussions going on with the Bedford and the town, with the Bedfords and the town. So maybe those have moved along now.
yeah, it sounds like.
It was just,
Yeah.
The
They
thing
got
comes
preliminary
up.
stuff now.
Yeah.
Last summer, there would have been
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounded like it was pretty sketchy last time she came talk to
Is
us. So.
the other area down, see the funny shaped one down
Yeah.
at the bottom? That's the isinglass area. you were
Right,
talking about?
yeah, the bluish line there is kind of the
Is that-
Isinglass River.
Is that near the
The other one?
the town farm road? I can't picture where that is. What's it called? Caleb.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
126 is just below there, so.
Yeah, this is what we call Camp
Way
West.
there, okay.
There's Town Farm Road. This is the one that when you're driving along, you're right down the river.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the purple area there.
Because this is Washington Street.
Protected,
Right.
so
Or 202.
That's the French Mill Road
Yeah.
or something off of there. So it's in between those, so.
Jack, where does 126 and 202 intersection?
Oh, farther down.
It's even further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that 126 at the
I
bottom?
think so, yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah, I believe that is, yeah. So it's,
So,
important,
too bad it doesn't connect. There's a gap,
The other one, yeah,
That would be-
yeah, I think they would like that.
Do we know what the land in between here is? Who owns it?
I thought she suggested that Bedford had some other land in there as well, but and this is like 4 different actual parcels, even though it's just, looks like 2 here. I believe she mentioned several, but that's what they're discussing at this point, so. So does that sound reasonable to folks that we could pony up some portion? Ken, do you have any comments or questions?
You're
You're
muted.
muted, Ken.
I've just done muting because there's noise in the background. No, this sounds great. And yes, we should put some money into it for sure. I missed all the numbers you did earlier, but we ought to be able to. I mean, I would hope we could do that higher number you mentioned, but if we can't, we can't.
But it
And
sounds like
this is a big deal.
Is that available will that go into the minutes, that map? That, I don't know where that map came from.
that's from Cell,
Uh,
so,
Pat, you want me to send this stuff to you?
Sure.
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
And the number we had was about 730,000.
The total, yeah. Of which.
250 is kind of, we're gonna put a hold on for staffing, and then Richardson Dam it depends.
Yeah.
do we still have,
Yeah.
an ability to make a deal with the town?
Well, seems like we do. So anyway, it looks like there may be a couple $100,000 of potential funds there. So give or take 50,000.
There's nothing else going on. Is that right?
Not right now. The other, of course, big one is the Coot Farm. Which
We're not invited to be part of that at all, are we?
Not at this point. I'm sure at some point they'll come to us, but Selt is talking with them, I guess. And
Okay.
I don't recall. I think I asked Lori about it, or maybe Dwayne previously. I think I mentioned last meeting that it's under new management, new ownership now. So they think that there's some possibility they're working a deal for, conservation development, hopefully better than the previous one that nobody liked. So, but anyway, that's several hundred acres, certainly, or as much as 600 acres.
Yeah.
So these are the two big parcels that seem to be coming up at this point. What's left of Barrington, as far as large swaths. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that, and sounds good. The third item that's not on your agendas is this land acknowledgement. I guess is what they refer to it as.
Yeah.
The Trails Committee previously.
Yeah, this came to us via John, who's a board member, John Wallace, who's on CELT. And they mentioned this and use it a lot in there.
This is what you're talking
Present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I sent it to Pat. But we voted on it, but we felt that BCC and probably the selectmen, since we're making a statement. I don't know. They might be politically charged. I don't know. But we are located on Dakina, which is the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki peoples, past and present. We acknowledge and honor the gratitude of the land and waterways and the Alnabak, which is people, who have stewarded Dakina throughout the generations. We're looking to, we're on laminated with some heavy 5 mil stuff we've got and put it out on kiosks. But they're not ours to, it's not giving the land back to them, but we are acknowledging them. And the statement has sort of been proved to John is going to go back to CELT to make sure that they don't think any changes are coming. So we don't waste our time with the wrong politically correct words.
And this is pretty common these days. If you go to public meetings, a lot of times they'll
Some communities,
throw that in. Yeah.
it's, they do it right after the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. Yeah, and it makes particularly good sense, obviously, on swaths of land that clearly were.
They're pretty damn close to where they left them, except for the stone walls. Given that they wouldn't have bothered with, since they didn't have rules about land possession
or boundaries to mark.
They had some agriculture, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So are these going on all kiosks? Whether
Well,
they're self or
Are.
Well, I think Selt is.
They were-
presumably
Yeah,
all
we
of it.
can't put stuff up
Yeah.
there, but, New Hall and.
yeah.
But we might as well be consistent. Right. So.
Yeah.
All right. And then I have a motion to approve that.
Make the motion to approve the Abenaki statement.
Okay.
Okay.
Any comments, questions about it, discussion?
This applies to all of Barrington, right?
All
The public
property
lands,
that
that
the
we have.
Concom and the trails
Yeah.
controls.
And
So-
realistically, it's wherever we have a kiosk. We're not gonna go.
Yeah, you got a few places we don't have a kiosk yet, but
Yeah. I had one question about I was wondering if there might be a header on it or some kind of title, because you just put a little statement in 12-point type, nobody's gonna.
it won't be 12.
Well, yeah.
Well, maybe it'll be.
Yeah, but even if it's 16, I'm just wondering whether they have any, acknowledgement's kind of a big word for people that aren't.
I think once you start reading it, it's pretty self-explanatory.
But I was thinking something like about this land or about our land. I don't know.
It could be, we'll see if maybe John can get us some artwork from what Celt's doing.
Yeah,
Gratitude, acknowledgement, I mean,
something, that just kind of makes it clear what it's about. It's not some weird, statement somebody came up with. Okay, so pretty good on that. All in favor? Ken?
Yes.
Okay, good. Set. Unanimous, thank you. We do have a planning board thing that came in really late, like this afternoon. And I don't have any paperwork on it, but are you able to
Yeah, just a second.
get it up there? This is the, one of the Thibodeau projects, that I guess earlier one that we had been apprised of. It's off of, on Route 9.
Across the cemetery.
Yeah, across from the cemetery. And so this is a mixed use thing. It's residential and commercial, commercial things on the bottom floor and then residential up above, kind of. But it's only, 6 units, I guess, relatively
Yeah.
small development.
I thought it was 7 last time, so that might be part of it.
Yeah, they might, I think they reduced one or something, made it a
Yeah,
little
and they also
smaller.
got them all in a nice tight little row now.
Yeah, they got it away from that impingement on the buffer.
Yeah.
And it was-
Are you able, I know you'd have to go back to the previous, the
I
plan.
got all of this stuff up here. So
Yeah.
these are the most, what confuses me about this, so they're proposed, these are two older plans. There is no new plan.
Okay. but
And they're
the final
proposing
plan-
rotating each of these 180 degrees so that these driveways are now on the other side. It's not really clear to me. I mean, this is not just for parking back here. It was the said truck turnaround area and all that. It seems like they would need to provide a new drawing of what's planned here.
Yeah, it does seem like that. I mean, I would think the planning board would want to see that.
Right.
The idea is that they'd actually reduce the total driveway area. And they said it would also reduce the area that's impinging on the buffer.
Right. And these, these are kind of a joke because they don't show the topography.
No.
Yeah. They look like,
It's not that flat.
they must have, someone stood up and said, we're doing this project in Illinois.
Well, it's the buildings.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are trees as well, in front of there.
But I mean, this is quite a slope here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. We walked
They
over.
removed the entire mountain.
yeah. They're certainly gonna be messing with the slope too. You can see all that.
That's fine.
They already broke the ground on that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Long years ago, yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that, they'd let it sit for a while, but I'm sure there were other issues they had to deal
One of
with.
the problems is that little square on the left side of the property, that's a homeowner that doesn't
Right.
want a bunch of headlights shining into a road.
Right. But it does look like it's
That was
moved.
resolved.
Yeah, we shifted quite a bit over because it was going right into that, at least the buffer for that wetland there. And that's no
Right.
longer, or almost not the case.
And the first floor commercials are retail?
No, they'd be like
Small businesses.
small business. They said they wouldn't be home offices per se. They'd have a separate deed, I guess, they said. But the idea is that you could do a small
Yeah,
business
one of
operation.
the new documents shows plans of where the units would have the downstairs would be like 3/4 commercial space and then,
But if you want to look at those plans, I can hold it up. You want to see the
Out
building
of
plans?
curiosity.
It's describes them there.
That's what I have
Oh, yeah.
up. It's not.
all right, it was one of the last 3 documents had the building drawing, so.
Yeah, it must be, is it in the rendering?
I think that was all the pretty artwork, but it could be at the bottom. So here we
Yeah,
go.
it is. Okay, so.
There you go.
Residential side, so I would assume this is the commercial side, stairs.
And then it'd be like 3 stories or something. So, kind of like a condo unit.
House office condo.
So the idea is it wouldn't be retail, it'd be limited, people driving in and out, of course. But,
And that's all the planning board's purview, but I would want to see a drawing, what's
it
being
does seem like-
proposed here,
yeah.
because it's not.
yeah, it's a little hard to
Clear.
just turn it around and say, oh, yeah.
But in the end, I think because that place has been ripped up, let's get the project done, before it is erosion or somebody walks away. I mean, if it was pristine forest there, maybe I wouldn't feel so bad about that, but they've already ripped the land up. It's been vacant for
Yeah,
2
it's a good
years.
point.
So let's either make it useful land. No one's probably can't get anybody to pay to plant a lot of trees back.
No, I don't think there's any problem with what they're proposing.
Yeah.
Just that
Yeah,
I
so
think it's incomplete.
so I guess our comments that we'd like to see the plan.
Updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, map layout for the 180.
I would assume the planning board would as well.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yes.
But we like the concept, is that
Yeah,
it's gonna be reduced,
no
impact.
problem with what they're proposing.
It's an odd concept, that's not a commercial below.
Yeah,
That much
but it
demand
seems
for
to be what everybody's doing.
It does seem to be.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Rob Russell.
Well,
I don't think he could. I don't think he could get along.
yeah, I think he probably wants
A little more
more
space in that.
space, not as much as.
I'll bring it to his attention.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's going to other places to protest for peanuts. So.
Okay, any other suggested comments, or is that? Just that prefer to have less things better. Sleep.
Is that going to be coming up on the planning board's agenda at some point?
Presumably, yeah, I mean, it just literally came in today, but I don't know. I'm not sure when their next meeting is, because they just had one last week. Now with the holidays and all that, things get a little scrambled. But I'll put some note in there, so. Okay. Ken, did you have anything?
Somebody, I couldn't tell who was speaking earlier, said they should have redrawn the picture with the 180-degree turn. That's true, but
Right, yeah.
we don't need to say that, I guess. It's-
November 19th.
And you have it listed?
Yeah.
Which is Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, well, guess I better get it in sooner. And. All right, so that's all we have from the planning department. As far as old business, how many people participated in the election day table, but seemed like we got a lot of interest.
Well, it wasn't great for traffic and some of the complaints I got from
that was the problem.
part of it is the
We need to talk to Ron about how people are directed.
well, the problem is number one,
They don't want to.
getting in line, people wanted to get the voting done because they're, all the stories about how bad it was going to be. And we worked our ass off to come up with a plan, both in the parking lot and in the building and the extra poll pads. Things went relatively smooth. We had 2 chinks that day. Almost 500 people signed up to be new registered voters. Registering takes a lot of time. And people couldn't get out a lot because everyone was coming out of Haley and wanted to turn left towards town.
Oh,
They weren't getting allowed to. So
right. Yeah.
Chief Joy went out there and just directed like 30
Anyway, as
people.
far as,
You're going to Madbury.
yeah, but as far as in the building,
Yeah.
they want people to go out the other door.
Yeah, down the main hallway.
They don't want everybody,
So
going in and
they
out.
were directing people away from us.
Yeah.
And so the people coming in generally didn't wait unless they wanted to go to the library, book sale, or
Right.
get food. They weren't passing by.
Right.
But the spot we usually get, which is over across there in that little corner there,
Yeah.
it wouldn't probably been any different.
Yeah.
Because people still with you, or they would have gone to get in the line, or they would have gone out the wrong door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you mean if we were by the select board, you don't think it would have made any difference?
Oh, there it might have made it a little better, but we generally don't get that spot. Ever since the select board has been doing their thing, they get that prime spot on the big
What
corner.
do you mean across from them?
Across from where we were,
But
you
still,
got that
still
half wall there.
Yeah, but we used to be against the windows there, on the.
Yeah, a while back, but that was before
Yeah.
the select board decided that they wanted a presence there. I mean, look at all the groups. We had the connectivity project was there. And the rec center is much more active now.
Yeah.
And
Let's
there was another, and then of course we got
Yeah.
who are those people on the energy committee? They took some space.
Let's talk to Rob about this, because I don't guess no one is happy, except for probably the select board. About what happened, and I'm not sure how.
Well, there was one table that wasn't even used. It was just sitting there idle the whole day.
Well, we need places for people to eat.
Well, that's nice, but not.
Well, being a poll worker,
Yeah.
I use them.
Well, I don't even know if it was set up for that. I think it was just.
There's no setup. I just leave it there. And there was a one up top on the upper
Yeah.
level, but
Anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
Or
The
first come,
next
first served.
vote, we're probably not gonna be pushing people out that
No.
way. We're not worried
Yeah.
about the traffic as much, but, because when we got the 30% turnout last spring, we were happy and like, that's great.
And this was
We
a
had
record, right?
86%.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Turnout, so, yeah.
Good job out there.
I actually saw people comment on Facebook on other people's pages. Traffic outside was great. I thought I'd never get a parking spot, and somebody pointed me in the right direction, and that was me and Ben. And
I had a few,
others.
I was working with machines and I had a few people who said this has really been well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had extra meetings and said, you know, in the school department signed up for a lot of this stuff and put up the extra signs.
Ran out of flyers, next time we get more flyers.
Yeah, there were
I
more made, yeah.
Well, I
Did
asked,
you run out there later? Did you run
we
out?
still got some extras left.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think we ran out in the end,
the
but.
problem is I asked people to print some and nobody.
Yeah.
You didn't, but I mean, my problem is my printer's down right now and it's a little expensive. Color copies are about two-sided or about a quarter a piece.
I got to say, it was just do it.
Yeah.
But it is a cost.
Yeah, well, it ought to be something we cover.
Yeah. Well, we had QR codes there. I mean, ideally, we want younger people.
Yeah.
Don't take anyone to expense here, but both the Trails Committee and the BCC, we could all be invigorated with somebody who doesn't have an AARP card.
I don't have an error.
You qualify.
I qualify.
You know, one of the good things is Dr. Hodgson and Steve Blaze, the couple that ran the Trail Trekker in 12 and a half hours. They want to join us next spring. I still hope they do next year. But they want to cut back. And did I see something on my other mail account? You submitted yours?
Yeah.
Nice. Another member of the team getting the Trail Trekker, which I known I would have, but I saw it at dinner tonight. Well, I need those. I would have brought you the patch.
That's all right. No hurry.
And your certificate suitable for refrigerator. You got magnets.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, there was a lot among people that were able to find us. And I think the people that really are interested, they will seek us out. And it just seemed like there was quite a lot of interest looking at the new map. Unfortunately, I didn't get the map I wanted, which would have been even more detailed or have more specifics on it, but we did kind of amend it with.
Well, are those the same amendments that was already submitted to the?
Yeah, it's all been submitted. It's just they couldn't produce the
Okay.
map the day of the election. So for the next round,
Okay.
in March.
So are you gonna follow up with whatever you gave that to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Vanessa will want to have even the interconnectivity committee wants to have an updated map. So
Oh, yeah.
I just couldn't believe they printed out like 10 copies of the very imperfect one. At least it had the green spaces, the literally green plots where the public.
What did they
lands.
do with all those copies?
They went out to various people, everybody got their copy.
Yeah, there were a couple in this building and she ended up giving me the building inspector Jennison's copy.
Yeah.
So we'd have something for the show. I've got it. If you need your corrections back, I can.
No,
keep that one.
again, it should all.
I recovered all my supplies. They went home with various people that night.
Did you have a larger map that was laminated on the board?
That's an older.
Well, the older one, yeah, which we've had for 10 years, something.
That shows all the conservation land in there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't show the trails on, it's not up to date, and with the new one, we're asking, could you put the names of the areas next to them, because once people see the names, they'll go, oh, I wanna go to
Right.
Winnie the Pooh,
Yeah.
Right.
I wanna go to Selt, or I wanna
Yeah.
go to Newhall.
So we're hoping to
Not
have
the names.
numbered or some, at least
Yeah.
the half dozen.
Yeah. I would prefer the names on the map, it makes it easier, because going to a legend that's a map reading skill that, I'm sorry, but some people don't have it.
I thought it was great to see. I had never seen that particular map before. It's not
Yeah.
on the Conservation Commission website.
The older version.
The old one is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, oh, yeah. If you
Yeah,
go
I didn't wanna waste time, getting a new one, getting a partially new one and putting it up, only to have people tell me it's not.
Yeah, and of course, we're still waiting on some of the parking areas and even Leighton Forest, getting the trails up to public use. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
hopefully in the next year, we will have some updates to really put on there. So anyway, that's a work in progress. So, The most I found annoying thing that they really should have had was they didn't have the town common, which of course, the next table over, they're talking about the town common, but you'd like it on our map. So, but other than that, it definitely got a lot of interest.
Speaking of the town common, tax bills went out and the mailer was in there. And there, for the town common, there's a survey. There's a
Yeah.
link and I know.
They were handing it out.
QR.
Yeah, if you go to the web,
I did yours.
if you go to the town website, I'm sure it's probably somewhere on the homepage or, you know, you can find a link to it. Yeah, so if you haven't done that, I haven't done it myself, but I'm sure they're taking survey responses for, I don't, they didn't really have a deadline, I guess, but.
I didn't see that. I did fill out the survey. So I don't think they did have a deadline.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm sure they'll take more, and this is, you know, what you want to see in this park area, you know, and it's not quite the same as our, you know, conservation lands, but there is a trail and there could be other amenities.
Yeah. If it becomes a trail, but they got some sort of surface that would qualify it to be ADA, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
We've got a trail out in the town forest that we originally called ADA. But as stuff is growing around there, even our friends, the beavers, they did quite some damage out there last year, but that trail no longer is really ADA unless you were to truck in material. That's likely to happen with some sort of either an oval type course or whatever they do there, versus trying to get materials in to try to make the trail out of town forest to be ADA. That would be a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Because you can't cut the roots out of the ground. You kill trees that way.
Yeah.
So we, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna ask, do we have any actual ADA trails in town?
No.
Nothing that's been designated because generally leaving a natural surface I don't think it's good enough.
Right.
So a lot of times it's stone dust. You don't have to
Yeah.
pave it, but stone dust maybe has to get put down.
Yeah.
And that's something that might be in the plans for that project. Plus, it's generally flat land, which makes it easier.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty flat, and it's accessible now if you want to go check it out. You know, basically go behind the post office, big open area there, and you know some of it was the previous snowmobile trail that cuts through there, but then they created a complete circle. So
Yeah. And they extended the parking lot on the corner. That's on the other side of the
off of
Edward Jones
So
Kalis
do
building.
you know,
They
do
put it
ADA
through.
requirements require that it be accessible to a standard wheelchair? Like
I don't know the exact requirements.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm basing this on an episode of Maine Cabin Masters, when they went in and built an ADA accessible place. They even put ramps in for a treehouse to get up, but they showed how they did the path.
Yeah,
It seems to
and then I
be.
was just reading about there's one in Manchester. It's looks pretty neat, actually. It's there's a Atlantic white cedar like we have here, Satwasser, but it's right in the city of Manchester. And so it was a big priority for the Nature Conservancy. I believe it's their conservancy area, but it's ADA compliant. And they said it's not all flat either. They have some ramps, but you know,
Yeah, they get graded.
they're graded so that they're accessible from a, you know, motorized or
Yeah,
push wheel.
And
Yeah.
they got like, this is the maximum grade you can have and
Right,
stuff.
right.
They also, I know there's a couple places in New Hampshire, they got extensive, we call them bog bridges, but they're more like boardwalk networks.
Yeah,
And those count.
yeah,
And, you know, I'm all for, you know, for everybody to be able to get out. It's just that, you know, it would take a lot of money and potential damage to some of the terrain. Most of our trails we keep on the natural side. If you look at a trail that we cut versus what Self does, they make theirs wider and more involved. You know, we'll only put a bench cut in if it's really got you walking.
And even most of the cell trails are not ADA. I mean,
No, they're not.
it's a small percentage
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
would ever try to make
Yeah.
ADA.
But I look at the quality of the bridges. Yeah, they'll go better bridges than us. They got a crew that gets paid.
Let me just mention that if there's an opportunity for a volunteer to follow up on any ADA, potential for trails around Barrington. Because I sometimes go up to Northwood Meadows and there's a trail
I heard
that
about
is
That's the one where they had to drain the lake from the. It's on the south side of Route 4.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but there's a beautiful trail that's just on the edge of a slope, so it's flattened out. I guess that's a bank cut, if that's what you call it. But it has a very sort of pristine feel to it, even though it's,
Yeah.
flat.
There's a way to do it, so it
Yeah.
doesn't look like a sidewalk.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think it's,
Get back to the survey. I filled out the survey a couple weeks ago, and it was, I thought it had some odd questions.
You talking about the energy or the?
No.
The comment survey, and it had some odd questions, and some of them was related to what type of businesses would you like
Yeah.
to see in the area. I
But that
couldn't think
is.
of it, but I mean, all I really wanted was an ice rink and trails and some other things that I mentioned throw in there, but it really kind of wanted you to identify what type of core businesses you wanted.
Well, like one spot that I think probably could be had if they were to go and maybe find the right business to go and do it is the old Phil's spot. That just prior to COVID had a sign up that said under contract.
Well,
It was the diner
Yeah,
down here
they
just
are.
beyond, was down Moto.
they did say that those would be private businesses, but that they could enact some ordinances that would help direct, or try to encourage the kinds of businesses that people were interested in. I mean, it's a town center, so
Yeah.
it does make
I
sense.
didn't think of it.
Yeah.
Really.
Well,
I just filled it out on an iPad at the loading place, and I said, "Oh, coffee shop." And he said, "Everyone."
Well, that's already got.
Yeah, Roll Joe's.
Rose Joe's is there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right next.
And I'm sure that Golix would not like to see ice cream stand.
Well, then, that's the thing, you start thinking something that, well, then,
But just think a little bit longer.
You can't sit down in a row, Joe.
It's not quite the same. And did you have something? Or were you just getting an echo? Yeah, so anyway, if you have thoughts about any of this, do the survey. I'll mention the interconnectivity committee is definitely already on to doing the ADA thing. I mean, that's certainly part of it. Again, the whole idea of interconnectivity is, it's partly good for the town and, Chamber of Commerce and all that you interconnect some of the businesses or have businesses that are compatible with the park area and a lot of it's just getting people out of their cars.
Yeah, I know, just.
Many years ago, I worked at Bearbrook State Park, and one of the trails they had there, they had, and I can't remember exactly what they were, but they had stations for exercise, just very
Yeah,
basic,
right.
and I wondered about that, like just
Yeah,
some
yeah.
simple, do
Sure.
5 pull-ups or whatever,
Right.
things like that.
What's it's a European thing they have, there's a particular name for that kind of.
Well, you should call it fitness courses.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I'm sure.
And,
I'm sure the Norwegians got a wonderful name.
yeah. French or German, something. Anyway.
Well, the German word we couldn't find make a plaque big enough for.
All right, well, yeah.
Takes
I
in
was
the
just gonna
woods
say,
where you hang
next
yourself
to,
from a
Town Major's Trails in Madbury. You get in there through Tibbetts Field. Tibbetts Field has a oval with like 5 or 6
Yeah.
of those
Yeah,
stations.
so it's similar. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure it's a matter of, if enough people ask for it, they'll consider it. But it's all,
Well, they asked about how to fund it and things like that, which was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a semi-commercial spot would be like spots specifically designated for food trucks. Because maybe the idea thing is during the good weather,
on a
a
Saturday.
food truck shows up on weekends.
Yeah, perfect.
That
And
way-
if there's concerts going on.
Yeah.
Obviously that.
Gazebo might be, because we got that little stage now in front of the Dove,
Yeah.
which is nice.
But I think the idea is to supplant that or have a bigger
I,
amphitheater.
yeah, I mean, they could obviously fit more people in the
Better
other place.
parking, of course. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's, to be continued and sure we'll hear more. I guess we're on to monitoring.
Yes, there's a couple of changes here because of my schedule. I apologize on, but so the next hike will be River's Edge on the 19th, which is Tuesday at 10 a.m. morning. over at the Satwasser parking lot of Kibitz Road. Plan to complete Kalis the next weekend, which would be the 23rd. That would be Kalis, the large Kalis property, not the Kalis West. I'll have to schedule a different time for the Kalis West, I guess.
Well, the west is the larger one.
Okay, I got it. The West is the larger. That's what we're doing.
So which one are we doing?
The West.
Okay, so
What
that's
day?
town farm.
That's
On
the
town
Saturday.
farm, town farm.
23rd.
And then the last will be, which I just talked to the Turbo Game guy today. Some changes there, so that will be December 7th.
So Gary, you had the meeting place there in Dover, which I'm sure was wrong.
And then I-
Yeah, on your spreadsheet, it's where you said that where the meeting place was, you had it out by UPS in Dover. So
For which one?
the Turbo Camp.
Turbo Game would be, oh, really? Faraday Road, okay, I don't know where that came from. That's not even my address, I don't think, but I picked that up somewhere. Dover, you're right. Okay, I know where that came from. Yeah, well, obviously it's one, here in town.
Maybe
that's-
another.
Is it the main headquarters?
Yeah, main headquarters,
Oh.
main headquarters are where we walking around that new construction site, which is
Oh,
kind
okay.
of interesting. Because
Yeah.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
it's done to our.
Oh, it's definitely.
I gotta ask John, I hope John Walsh can make it
Well,
because
I think our
that's,
access to it.
that's one
Yeah.
that, it's not just, it's not just the perimeter of the easement, it's, really the GPS coordinate thing that walk that way.
Talking about the turbo cam one?
Turbo Cam.
Yeah.
It'd be good if we could
Because-
get Andy Knapp to come to that as well.
No, the person
He's in
who
charge of that project.
Yeah.
He's the one that moved on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You had to
Well,
find
no,
somebody
no,
different.
No, he's the project
Yeah,
director. I mean, he's
Yeah.
the big cheese, I guess, on that project, as I understand it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it would be great to get his input. I mean, I've gone to these meetings where they discuss access, and the deal is they're gonna create a new parking area or, access point at the southwest corner, I guess, of the new lot, if you will. And that's right where the existing trail.
That's
Oh, right.
Goes in.
So,
So, if you look at it now, there's a big berm there and it's, they're trying to control the runoff and all, but the idea is that will be, landscaped and accessible. Again, on weekends, they don't want people competing for parking, but on the weekend, you should be able to get in. And that's better than what we had before, which is the far,
Yeah.
Parkway out
back corner. Although I think that'll still be accessible, although they're rebuilding that parking lot as well.
Do you want to, does somebody reach out to Andy Knapp? See if he could come along.
I wanted to get in touch with him about something else. That's what
Maybe you can.
I can't remember what it
The
was.
seventh, that's what we've got scheduled for this Saturday.
But there was a new person that was kind of the point.
I have you guys.
So we should talk to them certainly, because there's gonna be work needed. I mean, clearly that trail is no longer viable. I mean, and the main trail really, even though it isn't on our easement, it went through the, corner of that
Yeah, well, it was.
property.
Did you guys-
Access trail, you had to walk their property, and now it's kind of
When was
disrupted.
the turbo?
December 7th. So
That time?
The new man, I got the idea he wasn't gonna show up, he's trying to get somebody else. to do it, so, I don't know.
Yeah. So when are you doing, you said Caleb West on the 23rd, what time? Was it Saturday?
That's a big one, so I'd like to start at, 10 a.m. Starting later for. It might be a little chilly. 10's fine, 10's good.
And Turbo Can, you said you're waiting
10.
on a time?
10 o'clock. 10 a.m.
Yeah, I can't do next Tuesday because we're, Trails is going out Monday and Wednesday to do trail work.
I think, well,
We're not doing
it's
three
the
days.
same, it's the same time as that trail work at Satwasser that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the
Yeah. Yeah. I could
The
probably.
end tells me the river edge of it.
It's not bad.
Not such a terrific hike.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, you pointed out I did sort of the wrong area that time,
So
which took
main area.
a long
That's
time
the
to
one
do.
that was the hard part. Good, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
You're worried about it also.
I can probably join you on Tuesday. It's like,
Great.
that would be
somebody.
Good. Any other offers of help?
Yeah.
Check your schedules, you know. let Gary know. Okay. Anything else on monitoring?
No, everything's on file. I'll start working on the, 2025. Like list, when we're complete here, probably their next meeting.
Just a quick question. Did I understand you say that you wished you had a device that would give you like GPS coordinates on your own?
Yeah, a good one, like the Garmin ones that Dan, or the John Wallace have. What we use is an app on our phone, which is. Anyway, it is what it is. So, it gets the job done, especially if you're just doing perimeters of properties. But if the easement doesn't comply with the perimeter, then you're kind of, SOL. But you don't know, you don't use them to help.
The young lady from South had a device like that, which had more elaborate than.
Yeah, more elaborate.
You know, they obviously have more resources.
Yeah, more resources.
For the software.
Smarter than I am.
Yeah. But, again, this is the type of thing that if we have a staff person whose job is to be
Yeah,
top of all this,
exactly.
hopefully we'll get a better
Yeah,
system
yeah.
than now. So that's the idea. Okay, I think that does it for old business. Are there any other topics come before the group?
On the agenda, doesn't it say we're back to that permit to trap? Is that not?
Yeah, we haven't seen
Okay.
anything.
So
I
it's
mean,
nothing. Yeah.
if he really wants it, he's got to either come here or get a hold of Barbara and let her know what the deal was. So.
Oh, we sent that comment back about no trees.
Yeah, we did. I did submit that one. So the tree stands are good. It's just this trapping thing we're not sure about.
Right.
And that's on the Caleb West, I believe. So, if you happen to see,
If Gary and I don't start.
it's not approved. Yeah.
Trap. Yeah. There.
I think he didn't even bother to fill out the form.
Yeah,
Right, so
he
we
didn't
didn't
say
say what he was going after.
But presumably beaver or muskrat or some furry animal, I guess. So we'll see. Just kind of left it there because we don't know what's up with that. Anything from trails?
Yeah, several things here. Next month, we got a Christmas hike on the 14th. Right now, we got 2 people volunteering to be elves and lead people out. I think we're gonna riff on the elf movie and the journey of Buddy from the North Pole down to New York on the Winnie the Pooh trail. It's already got structures.
Yeah.
It's the only for hiking area we got that you get, landmarks for bears and donkeys and pigs, piglets. We got the word from the rec center that one of their employees went and got their certificate in forest therapy, which is like Shinrin Yoku or forest bathing. And they want to get Shinrin Yoku. It's a Japanese thing where you go out and it's a combination of taking it all in, meditating,
one
looking
with
out
the
in the
forest.
forest.
It's the latest thing that everybody's doing.
Yeah, it's better.
Name.
Yeah, it's basically just.
Well, going out the woods.
They say that I think they call it cytoclean, but some of the chemicals are given off by trees actually mellow you out. They say we're probably going to live better lives and longer here than people in Manchester.
So anyway, what are they?
So they want to go out on January 4th, sort of like how the state park does their first day hikes. And so we're trying to organize a place where we won't get road noise and they can go out, but we've done a few hikes with that, but I was an amateur when I did it. I took 2 hours with South and I came and talked about it. This person's got a certificate.
Yeah.
And, if it's too crunchy granola for us, maybe we don't, but having a relationship with the other groups in town is useful to us. We did one with the library last year. The rec committee is an obviously good fit for us. So we're going to try it out. And then on a week later, on the 10th or 11th, the moonlight hike, which we like to do hopefully with snow on the ground and a nice big bright full moon.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been lucky lately, although
Yeah,
there might be someone else leading it because John might be getting a knee replacement.
No, really.
He's walking around with the brace. His trip to the Southern Hemisphere didn't make it any better.
Well,
Did he bang his knee on the tango or what happened?
I don't know, but he's got a brace on and he's got a visit coming up. We're going to tell him whether he gets some.
He said he can't hike anymore.
Yeah. We all had to agree that we would do the moonlight hike in his absence if he had a chance to get the surgery. Okay. We know how to walk around in the dark.
Speaking of travels, if you don't get her Facebook posts, Anne is off in Bermuda this week. So she's I'm sure enjoying warmer weather. Seems to be enjoying it quite a bit. So, I think that's it, except sightings. Actually, before we do that, 2 weeks from now, of course, is Thanksgiving. So I presume we won't meet then. So the next meeting will be a month from now, in December, so we'll have business to discuss. And then following 2 weeks is like the day after Christmas. I presume we won't run then either. So we'll just have one meeting in December. Okay, sightings? Have you seen anything?
I saw a huge, probably the biggest one I've ever seen, snapping turtle,
Oh,
crossing the causeway at Swains, going from the swampy area into the main lake. Yeah,
wow, that was recently?
yeah, within the last week and a half.
I suppose they're going to their winter digs.
It
or
was
whatever.
huge.
Wow.
Very odd. Very prehistoric.
Anybody else? I've had several beaver sightings. I mean, we see them on our own pond, but I saw one first time. I think I've seen one on the marsh on Scoot Pond Road. You know, they dam up the outlet there, and he or she was just checking out the dam, make sure it was all plugged up good.
They found a lot of damage out of the town forest. They dropped 2 trees, and we got that gazebo with the amphitheater sitting. The trees came down like this.
Oh,
Just missed it.
wow, I missed it.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was out there too, and they've definitely been busy. On our land, they're getting the last of the oak trees. In fact, I was out today putting a chicken wire around one of them so they wouldn't kill it. They love to just girdle them, and then
Right.
they never get through it because these are like
They're too big.
2 foot diameter or more. But they've been killing them off one after the other. So
Yeah, we saw some of that out in
Some a lot of it.
on the
Or Chuck, yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
yeah,
Cutting down big trees.
yeah. Evidently, they have to keep chewing. If they don't, their teeth actually grow right into
Yeah.
their skull. And
apparently,
Real problem.
John reported that down in Argentina, beavers are an invasive species. Somebody imported North American beavers to Argentina,
Yeah.
and they're running amok.
Yeah.
They're starting to be like when the rabbits overran in Australia.
Yeah.
I have,
Ken? Yes?
I can't I think it was a couple weeks ago, Holly and I were at the end of Scruton Pond Road, turning left onto 125. Eagle came down, it was on the power lines and came down, flew right across our viewpoint. I don't know if it was a juvenile or what, but it was interesting to see an eagle fly across 125.
Was eagle ever saw in town here as he was flying over around where Richardson Pond is, but it was the day that they were driving home Sergeant Cheryl's body back to town. And it was like he was sitting up on the tree waiting for the procession to go by. I said, that's kind of cool. Beautiful bald eagle.
And I had one other sighting just again today. Saw this, fairly small bird kind of flew, eye level and then landed in the parking area for our community house. And I'm pretty sure it was a sharp-shinned hawk, and it had another bird in its talons. And the other bird was like screaming, as you might imagine, as birds do. And then it picked it up again and took off. But I've noticed that they tend to, knock them down and then get a better grip on them, maybe fly it off, but
Put the camera.
What kind was it? A shark fin?
shark fin hawk, it's, the smallest of the accipiter hawks, the bird hawks, Cooper's hawks, the other one's similar. But it's fairly small. It's not any bigger than like almost a robin or a little bigger than that, but smaller than a crow. So anyway, it's always neat to see them in action, you know. But
Maybe not for little kids.
anything else? All good? All right, motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
You-
yes.
Signing off.
Were you